Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Carrie, for that wonderful introduction and to the topic. I am so happy to have three great friends in the panel today. It's an honor to introduce you to three incredible global leaders who are making a difference. Let's start with Sonia Clayton. She's the president and CEO of Virtual Intelligent Providers, VIP. Then we will have also the pleasure to listen to Alicia Padilla, CEO of Lycha, and Anna Abraham, CEO of Supernova Furniture. And in further ado, we will start with the first question. I will ask the same question to the three panelists, and you're free to expand on your answer. So, can you share, we will start with Sonia. Can you share with us your story and tell us about your company? Paint us a picture of, for us, what was happening when you started your business. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you, everybody. Well, my business started just 2 weeks after 9/11. And I happened to be working a project in New York City at the New Jersey Port Authority building or office, which was Tower 1, 70th floor of the Twin Towers. And so I had a team of 5 people. And at that time, we were just, let's just make the long story short and say that at that time, those 5 people and myself were not at the building. And so we were very lucky that we were not touched by the incident. Mm-hmm. However, we all became automatically unemployed. And so my team and I decided that, well, what do we do now? It's a team that I had for a long time, and they had followed me through my career in technology. And we used to do SAP implementations together. And at that time, I just didn't know what to do anymore. And they kept on looking at me like, okay, you have led us to this moment in life. And what do we do now? And honestly, I didn't know what to tell them. And so I decided that I was going to look into maybe helping them position their resume somewhere. And so I started calling different corporations and offering their resumes. And one of my very first cold calls is actually Pensoil. That eventually it got purchased by Shell Oil, and it became Shell Lubricants. And so that was my first client, and that was back in 2001. And from those days to these days, we just completed 30 years of operations this past month, and this past September 30th. And so we are very excited about still being here. So that was the climate that was going on. And it was kind of like by accident. I just decided that I was going to help as many people as I could. And God was paving the way for something bigger.
Can you share a little bit about those pictures with us?
Yep, that's the family. Some employees. That's my good-looking husband.
And those pictures, can you share a little bit about those?
Oh, sure. This is my son. He is an F-18 fighter pilot in the Top Gun program in the United States Navy. And I'm very proud of him because he just deployed, and it's a very difficult secret mission that he's going in. He's been a pilot since he was 14. He was Houston's youngest pilot at 14. He had his pilot's license before he had a driver's license. Oh. And he has been in the Navy 14 years now, and he leads his squadron of 12 other fighter pilots. He lives in Virginia Beach, typically when he is not in high seas in a boat like he is right now. And he has 2 beautiful grandsons that I just adore. And then I have a daughter also, and she lives in California.
Thank you. Now let's go to Alicia. Alicia, your turn. Tell us a little bit about your story, the story of your company, and how you started with Lycha.
Thank you, Soledad. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Well, I cannot take credit for starting Lycha. That was actually 100% my parents. They had a lot of years of sacrifice and the vision to start the company. My parents started Mama Lycha back in 1993. And it all started because my parents owned restaurants named El Pupusódromo, and authentic Salvadorian restaurants. And they were needing, special ingredients to make a lot of the dishes and the beverages. And that's when they said, hey, why don't we try to bring some of the products by airplane, from El Salvador? And so that's what they did, at a very high cost, but they wanted to try it out. After receiving a lot of very good feedback from the customers, they said, you know what? There's probably other businesses, other restaurants that also need products just like we do. So that's basically where Mama Lycha was born. So after I graduated from college, I went to the University of St. Thomas. We all agreed that I would not go work for the family business, that we all thought it was a good idea for me to get some good outside experience. I went to go work with HEB, their procurement department, and learned a lot about, dealing with vendors abroad. And then I worked at a marketing department for a home builder. So then in 2005, I incorporated myself full-time into Mama Lycha Foods. Back then I had little experience in what food importing and distribution entailed. And I had even less experience of, how to manage a company. It was very intimidating. I'm not going to lie. When a lot of these businessmen would come from abroad with years of experience, and I would have to deal with them one-on-one because I had no experience at that time. A lot of experience and a lot of confidence. It's been an amazing transformation from when I started 2005 to now. When I started, we have about 20 employees, and now we have about 100. Our sales then were about, our annual sales were about basically what we sell now in a month. So we've sold, basically grown about 15 times what we were back then. And we've implemented a more, formal structure and just trying to create an environment where company, where our thrive. Now dealing with a lot of issues, with growing pain and just the growth of the business. We have, issues with our business plans constantly to the new realities we're not facing. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the pictures. Can you see them?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So the picture on the left is my husband and my two children. I have two boys. Nico is my eldest. He's 10 years old. And my little one is Lycha. The picture in the middle was, I went to a food fair in Antigua, Guatemala. It's beautiful. If no one's ever been to Guatemala, Antigua is.
I have.
It's beautiful.
Is that the convent?
Yes, the hotel.
I recognize that. It's beautiful.
It's very beautiful. And then here on the right are my father and my mother. I'm the only child, so I'm, it's just us three. And the picture on the left was the groundbreaking we did for Mama Lycha in 2016. It was a very pivotal moment for all of us. We're so excited to actually have our own home. And on the right is the finished building. We're currently expanding to the left of the building because we have no more space and we need to fill it with more product to sell.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Congratulations. Very impressive.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you look like your mom. She's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Alicia. Now let's go with Anna. Anna, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Hi, Anna. Share with us a little bit your story, your company. How did you start? Tell us the whole story.
Yes, I'm originally from South America, Ecuador. I came at a very early age, 19 years old, and I decided that I want to be on my own. So I left the country and I came over with the idea to just do something for myself. I wanted to be independent. I didn't want to have to, wait for my parents to give me some money or find a job. I did, work very hard, and of course, with a lot of ideas of what I wanted to do with my life. Of course, it was better myself. And in 1984, I met my husband, and that is when the industry for the furniture started. We decided, he's a geologist by trade, and he was working with our companies, and I was executive secretary for Joski's at the time. Now it's called Dealers at the Galleria, and we decided that, hey, let's do something. He wanted just to be with me all the time, so he said, let's do something we can be together all the time. So and that's how we started our little venture in a flea market. We rented a couple of spaces, we put some mattresses, I gathered some catalogs, and just needless to say, the first weekend we didn't sell a thing. So my husband got a little depressed, maybe I shouldn't quit my job and blah, blah, blah. So I said, no, I see potential in here. I don't know what it was, but I saw potential. And the following week, we started making some sales. So that was the beginning of what we have now, that, after like 30 years, we are currently opening another location, our 7th location in the Rosenberg area. So right now we're working on that, and we do have about 100 employees. And of course, the revenue has got better and better and better. And of course, in the process, there is a lot of things that we stumble a little bit, but it's just like they say, it's not how many times you fall, is how many times you get yourself up, and there have been ups and downs. The economy in 2004, they just went flat bad, so we had to start managing and doing things. It's a process, but we were able to just together, because we were very close and we communicate and we, try ideas, but, it's very important that you have a spouse, a partner that share things with you and that it's committed to go all the way through. And that's what I found out through the course of this journey, that is, it's just what we do together. We talk about things, we make a plan, and we, make sure that we continue with the plan. And in the process, I guess the results is what it matters, So I'm very happy that, that we are able to provide jobs for a lot of people. Like I said, we're in the process of opening our 7th store, and we're very happy, So doesn't matter. If you enjoy what you do, you're not really working. That's what they say, So.
Thank you,
that's my
Ana.
story.
I have some pictures also that you shared with me. Can you tell us a little bit about the pictures?
Yeah, I have that. I was in I think in 2005, I was nominated a Female Entrepreneur of the Year by the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So that's the picture, I believe. Or, yeah, I think so. Or that's the one with the ambassador. They also gave me an award for female entrepreneur and things like that. And the other one is the opening of the store in Plaza Americas. When we opened the store, we invited everybody. I like to be around people. I feel pretty humble about things, so I like to share my ideas. I constantly doing mentoring people. Because I like to share what I do and how I do it and what it comes with it.
And I think I have 2 more here. I think that's won the award.
Yeah, that's my son. I'm very proud. I have 4 boys and 2 girls. A mother of 6 children and a business. That's my oldest son. He's very proud of him. I'm very proud of all of them. He attended Stanford University and then a double major there. And then he went to Wharton School of Business in Pennsylvania. He went to work for Wall Street for 10 years. And I finally convinced him to come and help me. He said, come.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Just came aboard about 2 years ago. And that's the reason we continue expanding stores, because he has a different vision. He has been in this field, not in the furniture industry, but he has been as a economist person that make business grow and get better. So he's actually a very, very nice tool for me, and I'm so happy to have him. And I feel a little bit more relieved that I am continuing my pledging. He's gonna be able to take it to the next level. So I'm very excited. So that's my joy and pride also. And then at the bottom, that's just one of my customers. When we give away, on Christmas, we normally give away 10 homes, that people don't have anything. And we continue to do it, through the course of the years, and we help needed family. And I think that's one of my customers there. Like I said, we're constantly taking pictures, and it's hard for me, but I see something in there. I think it might be on, that's a Christmas, a Thanksgiving.
It's a turkey, yes.
Yeah. It's we give a turkey or something there.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Wonderful, wonderful. We're going to continue now with Sonia. We're going to stay in this here. Sonia, what trends and opportunities do you see in the current global environment in your industry?
Well, just allow me to explain what we do as a company, so then you have a better perspective of what I'm going to say. But Virtual Intelligence Providers is a full spectrum technology consulting firm that helps powerful business solutions for worldwide and local organizations interested in driving dramatic growth through the implementation of next generation technologies. So when I started back in 2001, the next generation trend was actually ERP systems. I'm talking about Oracle, SAP, PeopleSoft. Those were the trends of the next generation back in 2002, which we were still under the category of the third industrial revolution, meaning the era of computer systems and client server systems. But then this time we're focusing in fourth industrial revolution technologies, and that means artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, machine learning, data science, automation, blockchain, anything related to virtual reality, artificial reality, augmented reality. We are doing this kind of things. And so as a minority women-owned business, I am very unique in this space because it's definitely a white male-dominated, young brainiac space. So I love being there. Also, I gravitate mainly towards the energy industry, oil and gas, and energy. So I also play in the manufacturing area because those are the environments that are heavily impacted by robotization processes and fourth generation technologies. So our goal is to produce results by enabling our customers through business process improvement, technologies, transformations, upskilling, reskilling, and we help our customers achieve their goals and objectives by bringing in innovation, collaboration, and integration. So we educate, empower, and change our customers' businesses. So basically, that's what we do. What do I envision in my space? In fourth generation technologies, I see other developments growing quite quickly, and that's probably the field of genetics. Right now you can actually contact one of those genetic companies, and then they can tell you exactly what kind of illnesses you will have in your senior years. So then you're in, better prepared. And this is just the space of microbiology and nanotechnology. And so these are the spaces that are growing really, really fast in the area of technology. The area of machine learning, which is the process of mimicking human learning and converting that learning into artificial intelligence, and then incorporating that into a mechanic outfit like a human robot or a machine robot, then that's what makes a robotic process automation. Also, we are getting involved with drones and what we call unmanned autonomous vehicles for transportation, because there are more and more demands in transportation and more restrictions now about, for example, logistics transportation and the new green policies. And now the government wanting less and less emissions. And then, of course, limiting the number of trips that a distributor will make, or putting sanctions if you have more distribution routes than you should. And so we need to look more into, okay, what is a drone and how can I utilize a drone for delivery? So we have conducted some extensive research now in Brazil, where, for example, Amazon is allowing us to do testing of their deliveries in the backyards of their customers through a drone. That's something that is not approved in the United States, but it's already happening in other parts of the world. Then we look at 3D printing, which is the capability that you will have to print anything in a 3D printer that has been pre-designed and put for production with some type of either plastic materials or polymer materials or other types of sophisticated materials, where you can basically produce anything from an outfit all the way to an entire house. I work with Governor Greg Abbott in the Texas judicial system. I'm actually creating legislation about these things and these new technologies. And that's my part in the Texas Judicial Council, is just to provide legislation for all these new technologies that are totally disruptive, and they're changing the world that we live in. So biotechnology, genetics, the world of cryptocurrency, which is a whole different financial space, and then the world of virtual reality, augmented reality, and Internet of Things. How are they impacting us? In many, many ways. And so, for example, the world of training has changed completely to more of virtual reality and augmented reality training. This is when you take, for example, an air conditioner, you rotate it 3D, and you can provide instructions through a virtual reality environment, and you can immerse the user so he doesn't have to be in the office or in the shop or in the garage to actually have a live experience in virtual reality or augmented reality. Internet of Things is basically my ability to incorporate chips into everything that I am selling, so I can then capture data on the user and then improve my product in the feedback that is being sent. For example, let's say I sell a refrigerator. Those new refrigerators that are being sold today in the market, they all have Internet of Things chips. What that means is it's going to detect how many features you use most as a user at your house, and then they will improve customer service performance, not by just giving you a phone call like they used to do and ask you, how do you like your refrigerator, but simply capturing the data that is being transmitted without you even knowing that data is out there and is being distributed. And so they are learning new behaviors. How do you use your refrigerator? How many times you open the refrigerator per day? What is the energy consumption of that refrigerator? All those things are being measured. So in high level, this is what I do.
Oh, so interesting. This is fascinating, Sonia. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. Maria Alicia, also, I would love to hear the trends and opportunities that you see in the industry. You had a very, very interesting year last year with the pandemic and everything that you had to supply food for all Houston, and how it was a wonderful, I know it was crazy. I'll let you tell the story, but how was it and what can you share with us? You're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
So thank you. So yes, we're a food distribution and importing business. So we have manufacturing facilities in El Salvador and Nicaragua. We also, here in the US, we have our distribution center. We have one in Houston and in Grand Prairie. So we do something called direct store delivery. So a lot of the supermarket chains, they're, it's kind of like the beverages like Coke and Frito-Lay. Bread, basically we go with our trucks, we take orders, and then the next day we deliver the product on our trucks. And we have merchandisers in the store that are always cleaning and organizing our product. And pretty much, we are covering Houston, all the way from north as Conroe, all the way south as Galveston, but we also go out of state with our trucks. We service Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kansas from our Grand Prairie office. And we also service from Houston, we service Austin. So yes, definitely COVID was very difficult for everyone, but it was for us a blessing in disguise. Obviously there was a lot of panic buying, as we all know. I think we all did it because we didn't know what was happening. And obviously our sales all of a sudden in March 2020 went, skyrocketed. It was really incredible, but at the same time, you're not prepared for that. Since we do import a lot of our product, there's a lot of lead times. It's not going to get here in a week. We're talking about months to month and a half lead time. So that basically brings me back to the trends that I'm seeing. I think that companies that really learn to plan effectively, plan as much as possible, because I know there's things that are ever changing. I think that they're going to be at an advantage over their competitors. With that said, I think that it's so important to find different supplier options. I know a lot of companies, I think in the US have had such a big reliance on Asia, and Asia has been basically at a standstill. Those restrictions have caused, country lockdowns, shortages of labor, etc. So I think that, basically purchasing departments, buying departments have to work very diligently to basically source. And the closer the vendor is, the better it is for the company. Because, most of us were going abroad for lower cost products, but the lower cost does not exist anymore because the freight increases have been so incredible that, basically those once competitive low-cost products are now going to be uncompetitive. They're not going to be competitive anymore. Just to give you all an idea, we're paying about, I believe, like $4,000 for freight from China. Now we're paying about $20,000.
Oh my gosh.
So there comes, I'm sorry.
We see it in the grocery bill.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there comes a time that, I think as a business owner, as a team, we're all getting together constantly to evaluate, basically there's lines that we basically had to do away with because they just don't make sense. Some non-essential items, let's say candy items, that the consumer is not going to pay $12, because, inflation's taking place right now. I think we're at 6% inflation, and, people, their salaries are not keeping up with it. So, those non-essential items, you just have to put it on a balance and say, what, are people really going to pay, that, or are they going to go and buy bread, or milk or eggs? And that's what we've been doing. We've had to learn how to basically say, we had to do that with one of our vendors since I started 16 years ago. We were doing business with this vendor for years, and we basically had to tell them we couldn't do it anymore. And it was very difficult, but it just didn't make sense because we would have brought that product and it would have been just sitting in the inventory, and we can't do that. So, kind of just to summarize, I think that the trends we have are seek different supplier options, because you just cannot depend on one, especially in this environment that we're in. And also we just have to seek, I would say, more domestic or closer vendors, because that means a shorter distance and in turn lower, transportation costs, at least until things stabilize. We just don't know what's going to happen. That's kind of my take on the trends that are happening right now in our industry.
Thank you. And especially the supply chain situation, it is affecting the whole planet, and we all are feeling it all over the place, right?
Yes,
so we're seeing every day. Thank you so much, Maria. That's wonderful. Now let's go with Anna. Anna, let's talk about also your industry, the furniture industry. What trends do you see, and also what opportunities you see, because you source also furniture from all over the world. What did you see? What can you share?
Well, I agree also with a previous person. It is very hard because for years we have been dealing with Asia and even Europe. And when the market shuts down because the COVID is shut down for 4 or 5 months, that puts a very strain on our supply, our orders. We have to start, we can face client telling it's going to take 3 months to get the merchandising. So we just have to start buying different areas and start exploring other avenues to make sure that we bring a similar product at a fair price. But like she was mentioning, it's just not feasible, that the containers are running about 22, 25, and they wanted to ask you if it's okay to accept it. I have purchase orders that they have been generated because we ordered in January for the whole year. So you have those orders in. I can't just say to the factory, no, I don't want them anymore, because it's items that they are my collection, that I have put time on it, I have put a different design, or I have inquired, to something that I can't just go and purchase it from Bassett or from, because it's something that we created, that we put a little, desire on it, and it's something that I have to accept, whether it's $4,000 for the container, whether it's $25,000 for the container. So it's just something that we have to bear, and it has been very difficult. We hope that this coming up year started clearing out a little bit, but definitely last year it was just devastating. It was just, and we just have to start taking measurements how to just adjust to that trend and to start looking for other alternatives. And we did, we explored other markets, and but still that market also is suffering the supply chain by not getting that parts that like the springs or the foam or the material, because they all come from the same place, and it's just also experimenting some delays. So it's been tough. It's been tough, but you can't give up. This is what we love doing. I love what I do, and we just have to take a different approach and try to stay, just a more closer contact. If I was before the person that just check on the merchandise and the status of the orders once a week, now I check every other day, just to make sure that we have fresh input and that we know how to turn around. So it's just extra work, but it's challenging. And you can't just turn about the page and say, we're not going to do this. We just have to move forward and be optimistic about what is coming up. That's what I can say.
Thank you so much, Anna. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's go to the third question for the three of you. Sonia, can you share with us life lessons learned, and what would you like your business legacy to be?
Life lessons. Well, I come from extreme poverty. I was born in Colombia during the narco guerrilla movement in Colombia. And I grew up in extreme poverty in Venezuela. We found refuge from the war in Venezuela. And my first lesson, based on my personal experience, is trust God 100%. Because fear and faith require that you believe in something that you don't know, but you make the choice. You either choose fear or you either choose faith. So I encourage you to choose faith, because faith is the belief in something that you don't know, but you have the certainty that the Lord is going to make it happen. That is something I learned very, very young. The second thing I would tell you to do is have a father. My father abandoned me when I was 18 months old. That forced me to act always in a fight or flight mode, which meant that I only had one plan and I had to make it work. I couldn't afford to have a plan B. When I came to the United States with $50 in my pocket alone, I didn't speak English. I didn't know where I was. I didn't have a plan B. Why didn't I have a plan B? Because I simply couldn't go back to my country that was falling apart by then, Venezuela. Because I had no father or mother to receive me, because they were broke, very poor. Basically, I didn't have a father to begin with. I only have my mother. So it was no plan B. I had to make my plan A work. And so I learned that there is no plan B. Make your plan A, make tweaks and changes that you need to make, but move forward in faith with your plan. Then the third thing I will tell you to do is stay very, very focused. Being focused is an incredible thing for me. I'm fanatical about being focused, about writing my daily plans, as I write plans daily about how my day is going to go and sticking to it the way that I plan it. and staying very, very focused, avoiding distractions or disruptions. Those are the three things I will tell a young entrepreneur or a women entrepreneur to consider.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. I appreciate it. Maria Alicia, would you like to share a couple of words about lessons learned and so we can learn from you too?
Sure. The lessons I've learned over these past few years is to stop being a perfectionist. It wastes a lot of unnecessary time, and especially when you're in a fast-paced industry like I am in food and beverage, you really don't have that time to waste. The other lesson that I've learned is to find a very good management team. You know, we can't do everything ourselves. It's impossible. There's only so many hours in the day. It's hard to find very good people, I'm not going to lie, but it's not impossible. And I think that's been one of the key assets within our company is my management team is amazing. I'm very fortunate that I have very committed, hardworking, honest people. Another lesson I have that I've learned is to stop being an octopus. My husband would repeat this to me continuously, especially when I first started, because I was wanting to do everything. And basically you have to learn how to delegate, because that's the only way you're going to continue growing the business. There's no other way if you can't do it all yourself. Another thing that I've learned to accept also is that you're not going to be the best in everything. You know, you're not going to be the best in sales. You're not going to be the best in purchasing. You're not going to be the best, whatever, operations person, but that's okay. You don't have to be the best at everything. What you need to do is find people that are experts in those fields or those areas and recruit them, get them on your team. And I think most importantly is you need to learn from them. I've learned so much from a lot of these people that I brought on board and things that I didn't know before. And it makes, you know, a world of difference. And I would say the final thing that's very important, it seems like it's small, but it's super important, is that don't let the everyday stresses get the best of you. As business owners, I think all of us know that it's very, you know, every day there's a challenge. There's never a monotony. There's always huge problems to tackle, like small problems. So my suggestion would be just tackle them as best as you can, try to resolve them as quick as you can. If you don't know how to resolve it, you know, get with your team, get input and move on, you know, just keep on going, you know, because you can't dwell on things, you know, just keep on going. And those would be pretty much the lessons that I've learned, the most important things that I've learned.
Thank you. I love the don't be an octopus. Love that. I can see the picture now. Thank you. Thank you, Maria Alicia. Anna, would you like to share some words of wisdom with us?
Well, yeah, I can tell my industry at the beginning, I couldn't agree more that I wanted to do everything myself because otherwise I didn't trust anybody to doing it right. But through the years, I learned that you have to have people that know more than you do. Like when it comes to accounting or ordering operations, or when it comes to the delivery department, or you know, you can't try. You got to get the best. You got to get, and you got to pay for it, you know, in order to be able to be successful. Because you know, this business is so many of the industry and the furniture industry in this area, especially here in Texas, that you have to be a little bit different. That's something that makes a huge, you know, my commercials are entertaining because I hate to just, I don't want to do a commercial that said, oh, just come on over and get a 20% discount, stuff like that. I wanted to do something that entice women to know that you got to be brave, you got to be fearful, you have to be, you know, out there to be willing to do anything, not to be afraid of anything. And that's what my message is. That's what I learned, to be strong and to just challenge, take everything as a challenge. Don't take it, you know, the stress that brings with the territory. Just don't take it home with you, and try to just make the best out of it. Because you know, as a business owner, every morning you're gonna have something that come out, a new thing. Somebody, the baby's sick and cannot come to work, and she's the manager for the store, and you have to find somebody to replace it, or things like that, you know. So be ready for that. I learned that you can't take anything for granted. You're here today, and tomorrow something, you know, you're not there, you know. So, and the only thing that you can just leave is a good legacy. Make sure you leave a good, the people remember you because you were kind, you were human, you were very, you know, humble, and you were aggressive, you know, to remember those things, you know. And that's what I hope that I will, you know, leave, you know, and people will, you know, they will remember me like the person that, yeah, she was kind, she was nice, she was work hard, you know, because, you know, that's what I do. I wanted to make sure that I transfer that energy that I have and teach people to give them the, you know, not to be afraid to do things, to take the challenge. And that's what I do with people that work for me, or the people that meet, you know, the mentors, the kids that I help go through college, or that I take them under my wing and get them, you know, student visas and things like that. I like to change people's lives, and I hope that that's, you know, what they can learn a lot from me. That's the only thing I can do. Just hope, you know. So that's my lesson.
Thank you, Anna. That's wonderful. Final question for all of you. Can you share a story, that something important that happened to you when you were being mentored by somebody else, or when you mentor somebody else? It has, each one of us had always had a person who had made a difference in our life. And maybe Sonia, can you remember one person that made a difference in your life, and how was that significant?
Yes, when I started my business, I was trying to figure out where I was going to office. This is the day where you have to have an office, and how was I going to create my corporate image? And so I had a friend, she's French, her name is Maria Rouget. And I went to visit her because she had a website business, and I told her my predicament, and she was so generous at that point. She said, Sonia, you're just beginning this path of being an entrepreneur, and it's so tough, it's so difficult, it's so challenging and uncertain, that I would like to help you. And so she says, you can share my office here. And I was very excited because I didn't have to have a contract. I would just pay her half of what the building office that she was releasing was. And so it was phenomenal. It just helped me tremendously. She helped me for about 3 years. And I learned that for a relationship like that to work, I had to give as well. And so I was willing to give anything to just keep that relationship going. And so I will go out there and find my business, and I will find business for her. So her business actually doubled during our partnership. And she always talks about that, you know, how I made her business grow. And eventually she retired. And after about 6 years, she said, you can take all of my clients. I don't need them anymore. I'm retiring. So she made a clean transition to me, but it was a two-way street. She knew that that she was given and I was given. So piece of advice, if someone lends you a hand or gives you an opportunity, or is willing to share something with you, they don't have an obligation to do that. They're doing that because they have an immense heart and they're willing to share or teach or coach. Be willing to give, be willing to share, be willing to contribute in your own humble way, even if it's time. You know, ask that person, how can I help you? What you're doing a lot for me. It's not a one-way street. Be willing to share, to give, to return.
Thank you. Very wise. Maria Alicia, any words, any experience, anything that you remember for anybody in the school, or that either mentored you or experience that you mentor somebody else? And you're on mute right now. Yes.
I mean, I think the most impactful mentors have been my parents. You know, being an only child, being a Latina woman, it's very, you know, there's a very tight, you know, family unit there. I think that they've been my life coach since I was young. I've had always a very big support system in them, whether it be personal, whether it be family. Family businesses are not easy. I'm not going to lie, they're not easy, but one thing that I'll be forever grateful to them is that they gave me their vote of confidence, to basically run it for them. Because I know a lot of businesses that have gone down from generation to generation, sometimes they don't work and sometimes they fall apart. And I think they just have been a very positive influence on me. I try to pass on the same, with my employees. I try to be very, I've always had like an open door policy, hey guys, if there's something that you cannot resolve, with your managers, whatnot, anything, that you feel, please come to me. And a lot of people have done that. And that's something that I really value. I feel that if somebody confides in you, that's, and you don't, I guess, necessarily work day by day alongside them, but, for them to just, feel that comfortable with you is, for me, is very valuable. And just, learn to give back. I think that's another life lesson that I learned from my parents. They're continuously wanting to give back to, the community, as far as especially Latin America, because most of our consumers are from Latin America. A lot of them are seeking nostalgic products, and, it's just very fulfilling to be able to create employment, not only here in the US, abroad, everywhere, just either directly or indirectly, some way you're giving back, and, whenever you can, donations, and so that example, of giving, sacrifice, I saw it for so many years, growing up. My parents, when we first came here, when my parents immigrated here from El Salvador during the Civil War in 1980, my mother was pregnant with me. And, we went to New Jersey. They worked as, production line workers. They came here to Texas because one of my uncles lived here and said, hey, Texas has a lot of opportunity. They took a leap of faith with barely any money at all. And they worked. That was my example, in the grocery store. We have, a meat market, a Mexican meat market, 24/7, working, restaurants, 24/7, working, Mama Lycha, 20. So that example of hard work is what I've taken with me. And that's what I've practiced, and it's worked, it really does. It really does work just to go and get it,
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Maria Alicia. Thank you. I appreciate that. Anna, any his stories that you would like to share with us?
Yes, there is one that really stands out, and I always remember, and that's one of the reasons that I continue helping kids. I believe that if they have an opportunity, I didn't have an opportunity, but I made my opportunity because I took it upon myself to do something for my life, But I was invited to in El Salvador to be a judge for one of the beauty pageants, and the person that won, she got a card as a prize, the first prize. So and then I went to meet her, and then I saw her as she received the keys for the car. She gave it to somebody else to. They were buying the car from her. She sold the car. I said, but that's your prize. He said, no, I'm going to use the money to go. I'm going to go to school. I want to go to Mexico. I said, really? Why not the United States? She said, well, it's going to be harder. It's easier for me to go to Mexico. I said, oh, I can help you. I said, I'll help you. And I was able to get there at the, I sponsored her. So I gave her the, she got the student visa. She went to the Houston Community College. And then I said, you're very smart. You need to do better than just, go to bigger school, apply for the University of Houston. And she did apply, and she said, well, the money, the difference. I said, don't worry, we help you somehow. And then she was accepted to the University of Houston, and she got the scholarships. And then, just because her grades were great, she's a very smart kid. And then she finished there with the cumulative, excellent student. And then she went to A&M for taking her master's, and then she got another scholarship to go to her doctorate of the A&M. And she right now, and then they sent her to Indiana to do intern. She was a biomedical engineer. That's what she studied for. So she went to Indiana to work. She met her husband. She's married. I went just about last year, I went to visit her. She called me and she said, we are in contact all the time, but every year she just called and said, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. So she called me and she said, Anita, I'm closer to you now. There is no excuse for you not to visit me. I said, where are you? She said, I am in Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana. So I come and see, visit me and all that. So I said, okay, I'll take you up on that. I'll go in the next 2 weeks, I'll visit her. So I went to visit her and she said to me, Anita, take a look at this. Everything that I have is because you gave me the opportunity to study. And, and I feel so warm about being the results of such a, great individual that I changed her life, and that's something that really stays on me. And that's the reason I continue helping kids, because I believe that if you're given the opportunity and you know how to use it, it really makes a big difference. And I like to be part of that. So that really stands out. That's something that I just never forget. Also, I learned from my parents that she said that she learned that they work very hard. My parents also, I saw them working hard. I remember being 7 years old and they have a grocery store, a small one. And I remember they put me behind the cashier area. I was the one, taking the payments, and I was 7 years old, but it was such an experience for me, just being, being encounter with the public, that was very interesting, and that also stands out for me. I think I learned a lot from them, seeing how they work, and when I came to the country, to the States, I just decided that I was going to work hard and I was going to get somewhere. And I'm very proud, that I was given the opportunity and I'm here, and I want to make sure my kids also do something like this for other people, so that's what the only message I have to give you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. Sonia has to leave. She has to take an overseas call. Sonia, I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for your wisdom. We will be in contact. Sonia's contact information is in the chat. I appreciate you. See you soon, okay?
A pleasure. Thank you so much.
Sonia.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
To say that this has been an inspired chat, listening to all of you is an understatement. I personally am up like the stories of each one of you and how you sharing your beginnings, your lessons, your struggles, your experiences, and your insight about the future of each one of the industries and the moments that we're going through is so beneficial for all of us. I appreciate your candid advice, and I'm so thankful for your time. And at this point, I would like to open the floor for questions. I have been kind of monitoring the chat, and I think we have a lot of questions and people ready to ask. So we have some time. So audience, take advantage of these phenomenal panelists and ask your questions. I don't know if Carrie, let me see, Carrie, are you there? Okay, so how do we do the questions? Do we monitor the?
I think we have a small enough group that, if you just want to jump in and ask, and if we have a lot at once, we'll just take them one at a time.
Okay, super, let's do that. Let me start. I have one in the chat that it was asked by Lori, and she said, we're now in what is called the Great Resignation during the current workforce climate. How has this impacted your companies and how have you managed it? So many people resigning for corporations. Have you been affected by that or not really? How is your hiring situation? Do you see a change in your industries?
I'll take that one. Yes, that's been very difficult. I think most industries across every level have been affected by what's going on right now. As far as, we've had to adapt definitely, to the marketplace. It's very challenging when, Starbucks is, raising their wages to like, $16, $17 an hour. We've definitely had to adjust. Inflation is also an issue, but I think one of the best strategies that have worked for us is, a lot of word of mouth within our employees, basically references, employee references. And that creates a little bit more stability. Maybe there's a little bit more commitment from those people that are being recommended. But yeah, just trying to, right now, we're also working on just making our benefits packages more attractive. Mm-hmm. We're shopping more, right now we're about to tie in a great medical, we have Blue Cross Blue Shield, medical insurance. So we're able to get a richer plan for like a lower, amount for employees. And so we might, we might not just necessarily keep the savings, but we're probably most likely going to pass on some to them just to give more incentive. But yes, definitely 2020 with COVID, there are a lot of things that we stopped doing, because of, this whole, social distancing. We were always doing, birthday celebrations or anything like that. So, that was on pause for a whole year. And then people started telling us, the employees, they were missing it. They're like, listen, we want that. So we listened to them and we started doing, birthday celebrations, gift cards. We started doing, now we used to do social gatherings too. Now we're doing social gatherings outside. We did like a lot of Mexicans, they call that taquiza, where you basically bring a food truck. And that was really cool. So we did, music, just create like a fun environment. People have been locked up so long. People just want some socialization. So we've done that. We've been careful, prudent, and it's been really nice. So we've been doing that, every quarter for people just to kind of relax, because it's, it can get stressful. So just for people just to get to know each other better as well, not be hidden behind the mask, So those things have worked for us. Just those small things go a big way, little incentives like that.
Thank you, Maria Alicia. Anna, anything particular in your industry?
Of course, I wouldn't agree more with her. The lack of employees has been tremendous, and that put more stress on the personnel. During the COVID, we kept a lot of people. We have employees that they have been with us over 20 years. So we were very strong on that aspect, but we still, with opening another store and things like that, it has been a little bit very, very difficult to retain good people or really even get the cost, the salespeople in our place. So we were able to offer at the warehouse, especially because it's a more enclosed environment where there's more people moving boxes and things like that. We have to put a strategy. We made sure that we get them tested every week. We had a medical facility coming over and test them every week just to make sure we keep our environment clean, because they are out there. So we want to make sure that whenever they were doing the deliveries and all that, they didn't bring anything to the warehouse that is going to affect everybody else. So we kept that area pretty clean in the aspect, but it is a challenge. The staff is very, very challenging. We had to outsource our delivery because it was hard to find delivery personnel to drive our trucks. So, and that is expensive. So it's just, every day, like I mentioned it before, it's a challenge. And I don't think it's going to get any better soon. I think it's just going to take a little while to be a little more reasonable, but you just have to learn how to deal with it. What can you do? It's stress, but it's there, and we just have to move on and trying to find new ways to get the job done. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you. Pamela, I saw a note in the chat. You had a question for the group. Go ahead.
I have so many.
Go ahead.
I'll do the first one. I was curious about any green or kind of environmental systems or processes that the companies are using or considering to just ensure to decrease the carbon footprint, right? Like the example that came up was when Sonia was talking about the drone, right? And using drones as ways to figure out routes and things like that that are less costly and have less emissions out in the environment. I'm just wondering if the other women in the panel have that in their companies.
As far as that goes, the only thing we're really doing right now for, to reduce waste and whatnot is doing things a little bit more paperless, and recycling, in the past, we've printed a lot, invoices and everything. But right now we have a system that we've implemented not too long ago to do most of our accounting things paperless. That's what we've done so far.
Anna, do you have any initiative or not really? You with the deliveries or any?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, delivery is something that is more personal. So we still have to invest on our people. Of course, at the office, we have every like 6 feet we have an area that water dispenser, so they don't have to be using the bottled waters and things like that. Try to the papers and all, there is a lot of things we take measurements, but it's not too much that we can do when it comes to our field because it's more hands-on projects, so we just keep working towards making difference and looking into different ways to get the same thing done.
Thank you, Anna. Any other questions?
I'm going to let others ask, but I have a lot more.
Go ahead, take advantage.
I was wondering how these women were able to create a niche for themselves or kind of brand themselves. I'm sure that's a process, but if they can talk a little bit more about that, because I have seen the Mama Lycha products, right? And I was just like you said, Maria, I was like, I was really excited because it brings you this nostalgia of where you're from, right? And so, and I have seen that new building, so I was really excited. I was like, wow, that's a Latino brand, and it makes you feel really proud. And so, and Anna as well, I've been to her store and I've seen her commercials, and she's definitely very energetic, and it's very different than others. So I really appreciate that. But I know that it probably took some thinking on how to do that, how to brand yourselves.
Correct.
Well, if you want me to answer that, it does. At some point, you want your business to go to the next, level. So you got to start being innovative, and my husband and I would talk about and said, well, I refuse, like I told you, to do a commercial and say just 20% off and this and that. I just wanted to see something different. I like, and I'm the type of woman that try anything. Like the other day, I was putting the sign on around the new buildings that we are getting open in a week or so, and I was in the big ladder, and it was like 25 feet high, and I was just hanging in there. I'm not afraid of anything. So it's just. Or skydiving, my husband will sweat, he will not do it, but I just say, hey, I would like to try, and I would recommend it. So just a very emotional, very different. You think that when you're skydiving, that your stomach goes through, you don't know, but it's just a floating feeling that is just wonderful. And I like to try different things, and that was one of the things that make us different for the advertising. And on this business, on the furniture industry, it has to be advertised. If you don't advertise, you don't get the clients in. You got to let them know what you have, and you got to get your name out there. And that's how it was possible for me to just make a little difference and stand out among the other 3,000 or 4,000 stores that are in Houston area.
Thank you.
As far as Mama Lycha goes, one of the most important things for us is quality. You know, before we bring in any product, we do a lot of taste testing, which is really fun. We do it amongst all of our employees, and we just make sure that if we're going to put our brand on the product, it has to be amazing. You know, it has to be something that we give to our family. We spend also a lot of time on the packaging. I think everything we see that's like the most powerful thing, you know, is your packaging, making it very attractive to the consumer. So we're very, we put in a lot of time with that. We look at our competition. It's super important, whatever industry you're in, to see what else everybody else is doing and do it better or do something different. You know, just like Anna mentioned, you know, don't always, just because it's been that way, do something different, take a chance, because you'd be surprised, you know, what things can work, you know. Another thing we did early on was demos, which unfortunately with the pandemic kind of slowed down, but I think that was one of the things that really helped. Like, for example, our sour cream, which is one of our biggest sellers. I mean, our demos, I think, helped just take it to a different level. Right now, what we're doing is trying to delve into the whole world of social media, which is very new. It's a whole different animal. And right now we're learning from that. You know, we're trying to become like a one-stop shop. We don't want to be just labeled as, you know, because our products were originally more for Central America, but we want to be the one-stop Latino, you know, all different types of products, you know, from Mexico, from Colombia, from El Salvador, Nicaragua, etc. So I think just being current with what the trends are, I think is very important, you know, just to elevate your brand.
Super. Thank you.
I think Diana had a question.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I had a question, just more of it seeking advice. So I am new to the entrepreneur world, and I've been in the staffing industry for the last 15 years, primarily in healthcare. And of course, when, you know, COVID hit, I thought we're going to be secure. Healthcare, you know, they're going to need us. But I didn't realize in healthcare, we were the type of staffing that we were doing what was considered to healthcare non-essential employees. So we really we really felt it, you know, with COVID. And the gentleman that I was working for, I think he really started kind of, even prior to COVID, kind of really distancing himself from staffing. And he literally was just like, you know what, you take it over, basically do what you need to do and run it the way you want to run it. So I, you know, created my own business aside from him, and just really seeking advice, because I'm more behind the scenes than anything else. And when that opportunity came up that he offered that to me, I was taken back, because I'm not the frontline type of person of the business. And I just felt like sales is not my strongest suit. And so just wanted to seek some advice from both you ladies as far as how to tap into the sales and not make it feel like I'm doing sales, if that makes any sense.
Okay, let me answer that if I could. I wasn't trained to do sales. I never knew how to sell anything. I was more, behind the counter, and like I told you, I was 7 years old when I started just taking, the payments for the product that the people were buying. But when you have something to offer, in this case, that healthcare, there is something that I realized that I saw through my parents and the different type of businesses. One factor that will never go wrong is, it doesn't matter what you do, it matters how your customer service, how you approach the client, how you call them back, how you return the calls, or how you follow up after the visit, or when you are putting yourself, is anything else I can do for you? When they see that care, that comes back to you 10 times. And that's what, through my business, I take the calls. All the sales, I insist to take. When the advertising goes on, I receive 100 to 200 calls a day. Of course, if I'm on the phone with somebody, it will roll to someone else. But it's important to me that I have that contact with the client. And they say, oh my God, I'm talking to you. It's important that they see the connection. And the only way that you're gonna get ahead from anybody is by having the little personal touch. That is my advice. That relationship that you develop with one customer, that customer tells somebody else. I have been doing this for 30 something years. I still have customers that purchased from us. And unfortunately, they still have furniture that bought from us 20 years ago. But that doesn't matter. The thing is that now their kids are buying from us because they feel comfortable. They're buying a good product, just like I was saying. That, you know, they feel comfortable that they have somebody to call when the chair broke and the leg, you know, I'm gonna replace it or repair it or whatever it takes, you know. Taking those extra steps is gonna make you different. It's gonna stand out and it's gonna help you grow. It's amazing, the word of mouth or the referrals that you get, you know. So that's my strong advice. So you don't need to sell, you just need to make sure that you follow up, you know.
Got it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to add, yeah, I agree with what Ana says. I think it's very important. Like I mentioned previously, we're not always going to be the best at everything, but you know, as long as you, especially your key customers, really, you know, solidify those relationships with them, go on the sales calls with, you know, if you have a sales manager, go on them, then they know you, then they know who is behind the brand or behind the company. It's very important. And like Ana said, also, there's nothing that bothers me most than a salesperson that promises you everything. Oh, that's gonna be amazing and everything. And they just, you know, after they make the sale, after you sign the dotted line, they just never, you know, they just never call you. They never follow. And I think that's very important also to always, you know, if you commit to something, you better make sure that you do it, you know, because I think that's like the worst is that somebody says, yeah, you're gonna have it tomorrow. You know, if you're not sure that you're going to be able to comply, don't say it's going to be tomorrow. Just give yourself a little bit more, you know, leeway. You know what? Give me a couple days, or if you don't know the answer, give me a couple days. Let me find out for you, sir, and I'll get right back with you. But like you said, follow up. You know, just really, if you give your word, just make sure you follow through. I think that's the most important thing. You know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ladies. Very valuable. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we have time for one final question. And before we close, anybody? Final chance? Well, I personally think this was an incredible talk. It was inspired, it was diverse, it was, I am at awe of what all of you have achieved against all odds. And it's a proof of that determination, faith, being surrounded by good people, never giving up, and just continue to conquer your dream. It's the only way to achieve success. And I feel truly blessed that you accepted to share your time, your knowledge, and your wisdom with us. And your stories and your journeys are truly inspiring. And for everyone in this call, I hope you consider joining us. This is an incredible group of amazing women. I am privileged to be part of this organization. And I'm still excited and learn every time. So thank you for everything, and I wish all of you continued success and happy Thanksgiving to each one of you. Especially, I think this year is going to be double special. And with that, I'm going to transfer it to Carrie. So Carrie, you can do the final closing of the meeting.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you, everyone. You were fantastic, and I think we all very grateful to learn about the different businesses and how you got there. Before we exit, I did just want to say a special thanks to our TEW board members who participated tonight in addition to Soledad. So we have Kathy Moore, Lori Timmons, Paula Mendoza, Pamela Hernandez, Cynthia Colbert was on, as well as Paula Harris before. So great thanks to the board for all of your continued hard work. And before we end, I just want to pass it to Kathy, who is our vice chair of membership, because I'm sure she wants to make one final plug to get you guys engaged. So I'll turn it over to her and she can send us on our way.
Well, funny you should mention that. I was hoping to get the opportunity. First of all, thank you, Soledad, for mentioning 3 times that, if that's what I counted. We would love to have everybody who's part of tonight's TEW talks who isn't yet a member join us. I have Sonia's contact information, and I was going to reach out to her. But Anna and Maria and Diana, are you a member? Are you a member at this time?
No, but I'm actually looking it up right now to sign up.
Good. We would love to have you apply, and it's a very simple process. You just fill out the form online, and I have it on good authority that the membership report can be revised for this coming Monday's board meeting. If any and all of the 3 of you would like to join TEW, it would be our honor to have you. So it's $150 for a 1-year membership, and it's $250 for a 2-year. It's a savings of $50. So that is my plug, and I really do hope you'll join.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. What a fantastic panel. Again, as Soledad said, we wish you very happy holidays to everyone there. Yes, the holidays are upon us next week. Next thing you know, we'll be back together in January. So, and Soledad, kudos to you for creating this great opportunity tonight and for bringing in these very engaging women. You guys are all fantastic. So we look forward to staying connected. And again, just being here for each other. It's all about the strength of the network that we're creating. And however we can continue to support you all, you please let us know.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
good
you
night,
very much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good
Have a
night.
blessed Thanksgiving.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
My pleasure.